Hello and welcome to a new episode of Halfway with Hathaway. George Hathaway here. Happy to have you on the podcast here today, wherever you may be listening and watching. A lot has been going on in sports this week. We have our Super Bowl matchup set. San Francisco 49ers and the Kansas City Chiefs, a rematch of 2020. Kind of crazy to think about. It really is. Because of all the events that happened afterwards. You had the COVID pandemic a month later. And then the same year, we had a Biden-Trump presidential debate. Could happen again this year. I mean, hopefully not the whole COVID aspect of everything. But you have like the presidential debate this year. It's so weird just kind of seeing like all these like similarities, the same teams in the Super Bowl, same presidents in the debate. Very weird. Not going to get too much into that, but I just think it's kind of funny and ironic. And next week, I'm going to have my good friend Max Adams join me on the show, big 49ers fan. He's going to be on talking about the big game, his aspects, so much going into that. You'll have to listen for next week's episode. Very grateful to have him on, of course. But, looking at this matchup, I think it's good. It's wasn't what I wanted. I was hoping for a Ravens-Lions or a Ravens-49ers, anybody but the Chiefs, honestly. But we're here. We're here with it, and I think the 49ers are the one team that can beat the Kansas City Chiefs. Like I said, I'll go into it next week more, just kind of more of a Super Bowl preview. But I wanted to talk about this, though. Patrick Moahomes is not the greatest of all time. He's put up great numbers. He's done well. But he's nowhere near Brady or going to surpass Tom Brady, in my eyes. There's no way he will. Because you look at the resume, you're taking, and when I mean you, I think a lot of media people, these sports pages, they take a small portion of what we've seen in the past from Tom Brady, his first few years. Okay, they played less regular season games. The NFL was a completely different sport. Like football, it was crazier than what we see this year. It was hard hits, big time plays, check downs. I mean, it was just all these different types of things. And now you have, today's NFL where it's soft. But you're taking a small fraction of what Tom Brady's accomplished, comparing it to Patrick Mahomes and what he's done in the last few years. And you're like, oh yeah, no. Look what Mahomes is doing. He's putting up, has a better playoff record in that time, less Super Bowls, but better record, better yards. Okay, but that's Brady's first few years in the NFL when he hasn't really had a good team those years. He beat the greatest show on turf. I mean, it's just all these different types of things going into it. Then he beat the Panthers and the Eagles, and then it's who is Mahomes beat? The 49ers and the Eagles. You take one small fraction of what Brady's done in 20 years in the NFL. At double age of Patrick Mahomes, at age 40-something, Brady was winning Super Bowls. Like, you can't take a small fraction of somebody's career and compare it to somebody else's entire career, because look what Brady has done in 20 years to be the greatest of all time and able to do it at such a high level for a sustained amount of time. I think it's just so annoying that I hear this narrative every single week, and it's like, okay, but Mahomes isn't there yet. Mahomes has 3 playoff losses. 2 of those have come to Tom Brady. If you want to be the GOAT, you have to beat the GOAT. 2 out of 3. One in the AFC Championship game 2018, one of the greatest games I've ever seen. And then you have the Super Bowl in, was it 21? Yeah. You can't compare to a guy who's been in the Super Bowl 4 times to a guy who's been in the Super Bowl 9 times and has won 7. Apples to oranges. I just find it so annoying that this is the narrative every single year. We see the same things. Oh, Mahomes going to be the GOAT. No, he's not. He can't be. because he hasn't been able to prove it. Tom Brady's has beaten some great teams before. Yeah, Moahomes has beaten some really good teams. He's beaten the Patriots before. Yeah, that's fine. But he's still lost to them. To me, it's a narrative I hear every single year. And it just gets more annoying every year because it's like trying to disprove. And then it's not fun to listen to every single week when it's like, okay, we have somebody who's dominated for 2 decades, could have 4 different Hall of Fame careers, and yet it's like, yeah, no, this guy's been in the league for like 7 years. It's insane because he makes flashy passes, he does all these cool things that nobody's ever seen before, but it's like, okay, cool, to be one of the best, you have to beat the best, and you have to be a winner. 2 Super Bowls isn't going to do it, especially in today's age. You got to win like 3 or 4. It's just annoying. It's just so... That's why, I think that's why a lot of people don't like the Chiefs. It's because of these narratives. Again, to me, it's like, it's funny because I'm a Patriots fan, of course. And I listen to how in the past people have talked about, all they say is Brady's the GOAT, he's not. And then, looking at these teams. So I wondered to myself, it's like, all right, this is probably what it was like to not like the Patriots in the, early and mid 2000s, to just listen this every single year. Brady's going to the Super Bowl. Brady wins the Super Bowl. I bet that's what it's like to be everybody else. So I know, okay, yeah, it sucks, especially when you're not on the winning side. But that's it. It's just what it is, though. And with the media nowadays, too, it's not fun. But the Patriots, they hire Alex Van Pelt to be their offensive coordinator. Gerard Mayo making some big moves for his staff. I love this hire. This is a guy from 2014 to 2017 who was on the Packers offensive staff working with Aaron Rodgers. He's a proven winner. He's done good. And he was helping the Browns last season. I think he really revamped this Browns offense, changed it around. And he took Joe Flacco to the playoffs, as being his offensive coordinator. So I think this is a great hire for the Patriots. I'm so excited to see these changes happening in New England. This is a team, a franchise that is built on tradition in its history. For so many years, for 30 years, it's just like, this over and over again. The same teams, the same staff, and then you have your small changes here and there, but then they bring them back in, and it's just all this every single year, and it's like, okay, that's great, but it's a new era. This is a new start in the Patriots' history with Gerard Mayo. So yes, we're not going to bring back Patricia or McDaniels. We're going to bring in new faces that the Patriots fans and this Patriots team should be able to adjust to and should enjoy. And I'm happy because it's time to put the past in the past, move on to the future, and start talking about what this new era of Patriots football is going to be. And I think it's going to be a great offense. Top 3 pick in the draft. A lot of people saying Caleb Williams. I've seen a lot of people on Twitter talking about, I want Caleb Williams. I don't want him, personally. I want Jaden Daniels at that 3 pick. I think he's going to be a great quarterback to fit in with this system for the Patriots. I just don't like Caleb Williams and his cockiness on what he wants. Reminds me a lot of like Eli Manning, when he was first drafted. And letting it all kind of get to this head with the NIL, the fancy cars that he always puts off and all this stuff. It's like, okay, this is not who we want on the Patriots. He also really hasn't proven it to me that he can really lead a team. He did good at USC for a few years, and then this past year, all this hype of him being the number 1 pick got to him, and I just don't like his attitude. Jaden Daniels, very humble, great quarterback, can throw the ball well. I'm hoping the Patriots get him with this 3rd pick overall. To me, this is it'll be the smartest decision, I think, for the Patriots to do is get Daniels. But we'll have to see more mock drafts to come. I mean, we got a few more months till the NFL draft, so a lot of stuff's going to be coming out from now and then. So make sure to stay tuned here on Halfway with Hathaway. We'll be going more in depth in the NFL and the drafts coming up soon. But big week in the NBA as well. The 65-game rule's really been coming into effect. Players aren't thrilled. People are wondering, was this the right thing to do? I think this is a good rule. To be eligible for awards, you must compete in 80% of NBA games. 65 games in the season. 65 games they have to play in order to be eligible for like MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, whatever it may be. It's a fair rule. It's fair. Yes, this is an incentive for players to play more and not take load management and be like, I don't feel like playing today. Okay, well, play. That's what you're paid to do. It's like doing your job. If I said I don't feel like doing my job, like, yeah, you know what? I just worked like 3 days in a row. I'm going to take this day off just because. No, that's not how it flies. I think it's a good rule. It's just teams have to correctly report injuries. Joel Embiid, torn meniscus in his left knee. Not looking good for him. Out for the season. Probably. At least for a good amount of time. And he won't be able to win an MVP. But the Sixers didn't report it. And they forced him kind of to play. Or like denied. Not denied. I think that's a tough, harsh word. But they just did not report that he was injured. And that's why they got fined that money. I think it was like $75,000 for the team or whatever. Nothing crazy, but you're paid to play, so play. But if you're hurt, then of course don't. But I mean, you have these players who are injury prone, like Zion, okay, I'll say it, like Zion, Embiid, a few others here and there that are injury prone. Are they playing more because they want to win these awards? To me, if I'm a player, I'd rather take care of my health and my body versus a piece of hardware. Granted, the only hardware I'd really care about at the end of the year is a championship trophy or a finals MVP trophy. Because, Embiid already has an MVP. I'd be content with that. He's going into the Hall of Fame, probably. Was one of the Sixers greats up there, too. Number will probably be retired. We'll see. But to me, it's like, okay, I'm going to take care of my health real quick. I know my knee's hurting. I'm going to report to my doctors. Be like, all right, you know what? I can't play. I hurt my knee. Whatever. You have to be able to vocalize for yourself and just be like, okay, you know what? My body can't take it. But if you're just going to sit out a game because you feel like sitting out and it's a back-to-back or whatever, you can play basketball. I've seen players play back-to-backs. Those are the guys who want it more. And we see how the Clippers are doing without this whole load management thing. Kawhi and Paul George have been balling. The Clippers are a tough team to beat right now. I think that they have a shot at making the NBA Finals. They do, against the Celtics. I think that's my finals this year. That'll be a great one to watch. But to me, you have to know your body, know when to sit out, know when you're hurt, and to correctly report it to your doctors and your team and be like, I can't. Just because you want to win MVP or Defensive Player of the Year, no. I'd rather take care of my body than worry about my championship at the end of the season. I'm not sitting out just to sit out. I'm saying, though, that, I'm hurt. This is what's going on. At the end of the day, a lot of players, I would rather have a championship, a team trophy, rather than something individual. Especially if I've already won an MVP before. To me, that's what it comes down to. Is what do you really look for more? Do you want a championship or do you want an MVP trophy at the end of the day? To me, it's a championship every day. Because that's what apparently defines you as one of the greatest. It's how many championships you've had, not how many MVPs. It's how many championships. Right? Like the whole Jordan-LeBron debate. Well, yeah, no. LeBron's statistically so much better, but Michael Jordan's 6-0 in the finals. What's LeBron's record? Like, no. I'd rather have LeBron's statistics than, the 6-0 in the finals. Been in the finals 8 years in a row, LeBron did. But, like, to me, it's just like, okay, that's what defines a GOAT. Then, yeah. That's just what it is to me. It's frustrating, but it's the reality of sports nowadays. You were defined by your championships. Speaking of championships, these two teams have a lot of history, a lot of championships, and have created a lot of champions. Duke, UNC, Saturday. God, do I hate North Carolina. I mean, writing for UConn and stuff, like, I've dialed back on my Duke fandom, of course. Love covering the Huskies, though. It's my team. But UConn beat UNC. I hate UNC with a passion. That color blue, will never wear it. I won't even look at it. Duke, oof. They're not a good team this year, I'll be honest. This is not one of the best Duke teams I've seen. But UNC just lost to Georgia Tech. Duke did too this year. Duke's not favored to win this game. It's in Chapel Hill this year. But at least the first game is. The later game in March will be at Cameron, one of the greatest sports venues to go to. But God, I hate UNC. I hope they lose. I really do. I haven't been following too much of Duke basketball, though, to really be like, all right, you know what, here's what it is. I've been following just so much Big East this year, like the last few years, that I've just really digressed on my Duke fandom and my Duke love and passion. But when it comes to this type of week, when it's Carolina hate week, yeah, best believe I'm going to be hating on North Carolina. I have friends who are UNC fans. I text them all the time, especially this week. There's some friends I text them, I call them twice a year, sometimes three, especially that Final Four run between Duke and UNC. Call them twice a year. It's always this week. I hate North Carolina. That's all I have to say. Hope you're doing well. Hang up. Then I text them, haha, how's it feel to lose to Duke? Stuff like that. I just hate North Carolina. But I love this game because this exemplifies the tradition of rivalries in sports. One of the greatest of all time. To me, it's the greatest rivalry of all time. Yankees, Red Sox up there, Lakers, Celtics, yeah, that's up there too. Some really good competition, but to me, the two schools that are separated by one road, 5 minutes away, it can't get any better than that. Two of the biggest blue bloods in all college basketball, some of the most successful programs with some of the greatest coaches to ever coach the sport of basketball. So much history between two teams. Duke by a million. GTHC. We'll talk about this in a month when Duke and UNC play each other again. But yes, no. My UConn fans, I still love UConn. Number one team in the country, baby, for a reason. For a reason. They play St. John's on Saturday. And they beat Providence. Oh, after a crazy week in Big East. There's beef? Apparently. But I got to say, the victory against Providence, divine. You'll understand that. If real fans will know what that means. The whole divine Providence thing. Some guy on Twitter made an account, Big East Films, of talking about, like, what is it? Talking about, like, just Ed Cooley leaving Providence to go to Georgetown and how he did it, allegations, and they got a bunch of people to talk about it and use clips, and I guess the Big East copyrighted it, so they took it down. They took down his page, Big East Films, because of the name and likeness and whatever. And I guess Jeff Goodman DM'd one of the guys who ran the account. Let me pull this up real quick because I'll show you in a second of what was said. I mean, Goodman told you you'll be getting sued. Honestly, you might lose a lot of money for this. I don't think you'll serve time. And then it was crazy. He said something about along the lines. He goes, yeah, you'll look good in orange. Not a lot of people took that lightly. A lot of people didn't like that Jeff Goodman threatened. I put that in quotation marks. The guy on Twitter, Goodman and I like Jeff Goodman. Oof, a hot take for this month. I'll say it right now. A lot of people do not like Jeff Goodman at this point. Jeff's been a great mentor to me. He's helped me out, especially in college basketball, and to get where I am. I don't know whatever happened in this situation. To me, it's kind of comical in a way that this is what we're arguing about. But that's the Big East for you. They'll do whatever, especially Big East Twitter. It's crazy. But no, Jeff's been a great mentor to me. He's a good friend. And he really has helped me in the college basketball. I remember my first time really meeting Jeff was in 2021. It was at the Big East tournament. That was my first ever credential tournament. And I walked up to him. I forget when. But I saw him. I noticed him from Twitter. And I was like, hey Jeff, I'm George Hathaway. Nice to meet you. And, I explained about myself, what I like to do, why I'm here, and stuff like that. And he gave me his number. He goes, yeah, call me if you need help. And he's been a great mentor, been able to help me out. So, and I appreciate that. That's one thing I like about Jeff, is that he will go above and beyond to help out people like me trying to get into the world of college basketball. And that I'm appreciative of. So, Jeff, I know you're probably not listening. Maybe. I would love if you are. But yes, thank you. Thank you, really, for it all. But he can come off harsh. He'll tell you how it is. He'll be sarcastic. But that's just who he is. That is his content. All the media people, we have a different personality. We have different ways of expressing, because that we want to be ourselves. And that's how he is. It's fine. I just thought the whole situation was crazy. It was funny to me. I'm pretty sure I just sat there and I was just reading it all. I'm like, wow, this is funny. But, it is what it is, though. But yeah, it's been a crazy week in sports, especially, on the hardwood. But make sure to tune in next week, though. My interview with Max Adams will be up on there. He's going to be joining the show. We're going to be talking football. Going to be a great podcast, so make sure to tune in there. But I have the 49ers winning. I'm just putting that out there now. And yeah, I think it's going to be a good game, but I need somebody to put Moahomes back and, back in the losing column again. I can't. I don't want to see him winning again. I don't want to. But that'll wrap things up on this week's episode of Halfway with Hathaway. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, follow us on wherever you listen to your podcast, and give us that 5-star rating as well. And I'll see you guys next time.